am filming this little trigger warning here at the beginning of this video for you guys. This is your sign that please do not continue watching this vlog if you are triggered by self-harm, mentions of suicide, sexual assault, abuse, drugs, alcohol. Please, I beg you, do not continue this video. I talked about this book in a hell of a lot more detail than I was expecting. I knew it was going to be a spoiler vlog, but I really do talk about this book, so I beg, if you have are triggered by those, please don't watch this video and put your mental health first.
Step 1, wake up early, gonna rise with the sun. Step 2, get some good, some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day.
Hey guys, welcome back, welcome to my channel. So for today's video, as you can tell by the title, I don't know why I'm doing this to myself, but we're doing it. We're going to be reading A Little Life by Hanya Yanagihara. I've probably butchered that to no end, but we're going to be reading this one. Now I am going to make it a spoiler vlog because something tells me I'm not going to be able to talk about this book without spoiling something, so this will be a spoiler vlog. I am annotating it as well, so I have got all my annotating stuff ready. Why am I doing this to myself? I don't know anything about this book. The only things that I know is that this is meant to be a very depressing, make you cry book. That's all I know. Oh, I just don't know why. I'll read it to you guys. When 4 classmates from a small Massachusetts college moved to New York to make their way, they're broke, adrift, and buoyed only by their friendship and ambition. There is kind, handsome William, an aspiring actor, JB, a quick-witted, sometimes cruel painter pursuing fame in the art world, Malcolm, a frustrated architect at a prominent firm, and withdrawn, brilliant, enigmatic Jude, who serves as their centre of gravity. Over the decades, their relationships deepen and darken, tinged by addiction, success, and pride. Yet their greatest challenge each comes to realise is Jude himself. By midlife, a terrifyingly talented lawyer, yet an increasingly broken man, his mind and body scarred by an unspeakable childhood and haunted by a degree of trauma that he fears he will not only be unable to overcome, but that will define his life forever. Why am I doing this to myself? I am buddying reading this with Dan. There's a whole reason why me and Dan are now buddying reading this book, because he signed himself up for it. Started with a dare, and now he's here. I'm not okay. I'm already not okay, and I've only just read the blurb of what this book's about. So, I am about to go on sprints. It is a Wednesday, so it's TikTok sprints. I'm going to start this book on there, so I will try and get some clips for you guys, but everyone, if you're watching this and you're in that sprints, you guys have got my initial reactions to the start of this book, so yeah, I'm not gonna rush through this book. I'm gonna pace it, so this vlog could be going on for a little while. I'm gonna pace it. It's 720 pages. 720 pages. So yeah, I'm not rushing it. And we're gonna wait and see. But I'm gonna, yeah, get ready to go on sprints. And I'll come back to you guys properly with like an update after. But I'll get some B-roll on sprints. Here we go. Let's do this. So I've read part 1 of A Little Life. I'm at page 83, 85, I think, roughly. I plan on reading a couple of chapters a day, depending on the length of the chapters and everything like that, but 2 to 3 a day. I am already being destroyed. These are my annotations already so far. And I'm already feeling destroyed. Oh my god. So realistically, we've only really been introduced to the characters and kind of just getting an understanding of kind of like their dynamics, their friendship, like them as individuals, a little bit of their history and like some of their upbringing and stuff. I feel like Jude's the one I'm going to relate to the most. Because, yeah, so we know some of the history behind his leg problems and his chronic pain there. I feel like there's still more to unravel with that one, but like we know some bits. And obviously as someone with chronic pain, I relate so much to that. And then we're also at the point where we're learning that he does self-harm and he does, you know, he is very depressed, and how he covers up and like, you know, how his friends don't really notice to an extent, or like William notices but he doesn't do anything about it really. He's not really like acknowledged it and really tried to have the conversation with him. When he does, he kind of just goes by what Jude says and like he's fine, and he doesn't continue the conversation. So we're kind of learning that, and I'm literally getting so teary-eyed because I'm like, oh my god, I relate so much to this. As somebody who suffers with mental health as well and has been kind of in the same situation as Jude here, I'm like tearing up already. And yeah, I think I'm going to relate to him the most. And I feel like something's been alluded to for later down the book, and if it does happen, you can guarantee I will be sobbing. Like, I promise you now, if this does happen, I will be sobbing. I don't want to give you like what I think would happen, but like when we get to it, I'll let you know if it does happen. But yeah, and then like I said, William, he's had it tough. I could relate to him as well. He, for a long time, was his brother's caregiver. He very much looked after his brother, who was born with cerebral palsy. Now, William was actually 8 years younger than his brother, so, you know, he's grown up kind of seeing his brother and, like, you know, making developments that his brother didn't make, you know, and he kind of just took on the role of looking after him. And then obviously when it talks about when he goes to college, you know, he's not there no more, like, other people are taking over, and, like, it then talks about the loss of his brother, because his brother then passes away. And that he's actually their fourth child, I think it was, it said. He's actually the fourth child of his parents, but he's the only one alive. Like, they've lost all their other kids. And it talks about how they cope and respond with William, how they interact with him, and also their interactions with Hemming, who is the brother with cerebral palsy. And again, I could relate a lot there, because as somebody who was a carer, I have seen a lot of these reactions firsthand from families towards these people who are not exactly with cerebral palsy, but with similar kind of conditions and things like that. And seeing that again got teary-eyed. I was like, oh my god, like I can relate to this because I've seen this play out. Obviously not in such a personal way that it's like family, but like I've seen from the outside things like this are happening and stuff. So I did very much get teary-eyed with that as well. JB and Malcolm, I'm not sure on them yet. We've not had, I would say we've probably had more on them than Jude, but like I feel like we've not really had a lot either. Like Malcolm, from what I've been reading and gathering, he's struggling a lot with his race and where he fits in, as he is mixed race. He's struggling with, you know, where he fits in with all that. Like, he's still with sexuality, he's trying to figure all that out. Like, there is a lot with him that he's trying to just figure out and understand. And then JB just seems like this quite eccentric character. Like, he is just over the top dramatic kind of person. And we have obviously him in a single parent household. His father passed away when he was young. He grew up with his mum, his grandmother, his aunt and her wife. So, you know, we're getting all their backstories and how they come together, and they are all very much from different backgrounds and different lifestyles. Like, they are all so opposite of each other, and it's interesting to see their dynamics and how they work. So I'm intrigued to see it continue playing out, and like I said, yeah, I'm already getting emotional. So I'm going to be destroyed by the end of this book. 100%. And yeah, this is going to be an interesting one. I am obviously leaving it there for tonight. I'm going to pick it up tomorrow when I come back from my grandparents, because I can't be dealing with all the questioning from them about me annotating and like that. So I'm going to pick it up again tomorrow evening and hopefully get another couple of chapters in. But we've made a good little dent into it so far. And yeah, I'm really enjoying it. And I'm prepping for the absolute soul destroying that's about to come. It's coming. But yeah, that's kind of where we're at, and that's kind of what I'm grasping so far from the characters, who I'm feeling like I'm connecting to the most and stuff. So I feel like there is some deeper layers to JB and to Malcolm that we've kind of not seen yet, so I'm waiting for those to show up. But yeah, I feel there's a lot of things coming, a lot of things are happening. So yeah, I'm gonna leave it there. I'm gonna come back to you guys tomorrow evening when I've started reading some more again, and we shall see what happens. So I'm partway through the first chapter of part 2. I've literally read 14 pages, not a lot at all, because I didn't actually get to sit down and start reading until quite late. And this chapter is actually a really long chapter, so I don't think I'm going to get much done tonight. I'll probably read like a few more pages, and then when I get to a point that I can break again, then that's probably where I'll leave it. So I don't have too much to say, but so far we are very much in Jude's kind of POV and his thoughts and feelings. And we're getting a little bit more of a backstory on him, but nothing really crazy. He's mysterious. And we're learning things that like he's telling his friends, telling like his fellow college students and things like that. Because we kind of keep going back and forth between time frames. In a sense, it's more like kind of reflecting back on college days. But he's now in his 30s. We've kind of moved on about 3 years from part 1. I feel like I need to clarify that. So we've moved on 3 years, but he's kind of reflecting back on his college days and like how he interacted with friends and fellow students, and the stories he would tell them, like about his legs and why he's in the position he's in and not able to like walk necessarily properly, but like the chronic pain in the episodes that he has and stuff. And it's interesting because there's definitely, I think, more to it, and he alludes to a lot of stuff. Like at one point he says at the home, oh god, you guys could not see me then. At one point he says at the home, so that makes me think of like an orphanage, like a kind of like that's what I'm looking for, like something to do with social care and stuff. So which could then kind of lead in with the fact that they talk about they don't really know who he is, they don't really know his race, his sexuality, like he is very mysterious. And then yeah, I read that part where it was like at the home, and like everyone else talks about home as home, but this was at the home. So I feel like there's a little bit of inkling towards that, but I'm intrigued to see if that is true or not. But yeah, I am enjoying it still. I've not got teary-eyed with the bits that I've read yet, but Jude's outlook and kind of where he's at now, these 3 years, I think I said it was, later, and then the reflection back on his time in college and stuff, and like certain situations and that. It's definitely interesting, but still very mysterious. Very mysterious. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at the moment. Like I said, I'm going to continue reading a few more pages, and then call it a night, and I will come back to you guys probably tomorrow afternoon, because I've got live tomorrow and I'm going to pretty much be getting up straight away and going to the shops to grab bits, coming back, going on live, and then we can sit and read some more. But yeah, so that's kind of where we're at. There's not too much I can say, but that's our feelings so far. So yeah, I'm going to come back to you guys tomorrow afternoon. So it's actually the next evening, but I've only finished that chapter that was on yesterday, the first chapter in part 2, because I didn't actually manage to sit down and start reading again until later, and then I've stopped for dinner and stuff, because live went on a lot longer than was planned. Daniel, who I'm buddy reading this with, and is probably watching this, caused me absolute chaos and was out to wind me up. But yeah, so I got started on this a little bit later for today. I am going to still continue reading. It's just gone 10 o'clock. I'm going to continue reading, so I will get more done tonight. But I just wanted to come and give you guys a bit of an update from the rest of that chapter, because oh my god, I've been tearing. I have been tearing. We're still in Drew's perspective of his younger years, and like reflecting back on them and stuff. And I was right, he was in some form of orphanage and, you know, in that. But we learned that he was in a monastery and that they found him and took him in when he was a baby. And oh my god, the things that they did to him. Oh my god. Absolutely, like, I'm crying now just thinking about it, like. And there's been something alluded to with one of the brothers there at the end. It's not said, nothing's been exactly said as to what happened, but I have a feeling I know. It talks, so he gets caught for theft in the monastery. Like, he's just stealing little things like some food and little objects and stuff. He's the only kid there, and that begins the punishments for it, really. And he has to have nightly examinations, where he literally strips of his clothes and has proper examinations that move into day as well. Like, brothers will go into his room and do them. Like, it talks about how his door to his room is always open unless one of the brothers are in there, and it's just, there's so much that you can kind of read between the lines there, but the way this incident has been mentioned with this last brother, where it got ended on, and then the way he's then just said he will be reminded of how trapped he is, trapped in a body he hates with a past he hates, and how he will never be able to change either. He will want to cry from frustration and hatred and pain, but he hasn't cried since what happened with brother Luke, after which he told himself he would never cry again. He will be reminded that he is nothing, a scooped out husk in which the fruit has long since mummified and shrunk and now rattles uselessly. Like, the way it says there, like, about that, I just feel like we're gonna get more history on that, and I think it's gonna proper destroy me. Like, just that entire, like, it got to the point where I couldn't even like highlight it anymore, because there was the whole segment of that last bit of his chapter. I could have just highlighted the whole thing, so I kind of had to bracket it where it starts, and then it just carries on to the end, because otherwise I would have had pages and pages of highlighting, and I kind of just highlighted and underlined certain things out. But yeah, I mean, look, that, I'm only that far way through, and look at all of that. It's crazy. Like, this book is just driving me, and yeah, just the things that Jude, I told you guys, at least it was worded similar, but Jude is going to be the destroyer of me in this book. Jude is going to be the destroyer of me, and I'm not ready for it, and I'm not prepared to have my soul destroyed here. So we shall see how we keep going. We shall see. But yeah, I'm wrecked, absolutely wrecked. And I honestly, I can't even put into words like fully what that chapter has just done to me, especially like from where we left off yesterday. I can't even like begin to describe to you how much that has destroyed me reading it, and like the way he's talked about it and talked about the way he's felt, and like why he thinks he's done these things, why he thinks things have changed. Like there's one bit as well, I'll just read you the last little bit. It says, but really he would know. It was when he walked into the greenhouse that afternoon. It was when he allowed himself to be escorted in. When he gave up everything to follow Brother Luke. That had been the moment, and after that, it had never been right again. Like, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Like, you can't expect me to be okay after reading that and reading the things that had happened to him in that monastery. Like, you can't expect me to be alright. Like, it's just not gonna happen. It's just... I'm not okay. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. I don't know what to say to you guys because I can't even put it into words. So I'm gonna continue reading tonight. My aim is to hopefully at least get to part 3 if I can, which is about, what, 53 pages, which I should do. So I'm gonna try and get to part 3 tonight. Then I'll come update you guys in the morning with like what's happened and how I'm feeling, because I may not be okay, probably won't be. And then tomorrow I'm going to my grandparents, so I'm not going to bring this with me to my grandparents because I think I told you guys in yesterday's clip or something. No, it would have been Wednesday nights. I can't be dealing with the hassle of taking a book and taking it there. So I'm going to take my other book with me to read there, but then I do have sprints tomorrow afternoon at 3:30, so I will be continue reading that on there. So my aim is to like probably finish this book this weekend. I know I said I don't want to rush and read a couple of chapters a day, but honestly I'm actually gripped. Like, I thought this book was like, it is soul destroying me. It is there, but like I thought, it sounds crazy, like it is a lot and it is very heavy, but I thought it would be, you know how sometimes things can be so heavy that you have to take step backs. Like, this is that level of heavy, but at the same time you are gripped into it. Like, it is heavy and you do feel like the breaks are needed, but you're so hooked into the story and into these characters and what has gone on in their lives that you just keep going. And yeah, I'm not okay, but I'm gonna go continue not being okay and continue reading. And yeah, I will come back to you guys in the morning and let you know kind of where we're at and what's happening. So it's now the next night. Again, it's Saturday. I am currently on reading sprints. So for those who are here with us, we're on reading sprints. I'm gonna give you guys a quick update on Little Life because I genuinely don't know where I was at when I last updated you guys. Can't remember the last things we discussed, but it's, wow. We've had Harold and Julia adopting Jude. He's at 31, but like, oh my god, the fact that that dude finally has like a proper family, and but like watching all his thoughts and feelings behind it and his emotions and just like everything going through his head as well leading up to that was oh so insane. And then like the things that he did just like was breaking my heart, like genuinely breaking me piece by piece. We had a little perspective from Harold as well, and like no names were given when he was talking about things, but I can picture the two people that it was. But again, the way things, how they were worded and said, and I'm just so scared that I know that what is to come, and that I'm so scared we're gonna watch it play out. And but I'm really, really hoping it's not. Like, I'm praying it's not. I just have this such fear that it is going to be what I think it's going to be, and I'm not okay, and I'm not ready for that. Then we've had a lot of Jude again on like insights into his younger life, and like, you know, things that happened when he was in the home, and like things that kind of like there was a chance where he could have possibly been adopted when he was younger but didn't happen. And yeah, and then we've moved on to another decade where they're now, so he's now 36 and the others are like 39, because I believe if I remember correctly there's a 3-year age gap between them. And him and William are finally in their own places, like things, we haven't really had too much on JB and Malcolm again since. We're kind of just getting little bits of information from those two's perspectives, so it's kind of crazy. But yeah, it's I'm intrigued to see if we're going to get more of those guys, which I think we will. But yeah, the things that have been alluded to and stuff. But, you know, William's breaking big. He is living his dream as an actor, in a sense. It doesn't feel like a dream to him. Like, I don't know how to say this. Like, he's doing what he's always wanted to do, but he's realising that some parts of it aren't quite what they're made to seem. And Jude, the decisions he's then had to make things easier for himself and his health, and going against better judgments to say, and where he's at now, and like still we're really getting an in look into the relationship with William and Jude and how much they do for each other, how much Jude hates putting this responsibility onto William, but William is the only one that I feel like he truly trusts and has given the most of himself to. And the way William will do anything to help Jude as best as he can, and you know, seeing how their relationship has affected other aspects in life, and especially William's. Yeah, I have hope for them too. And obviously we have Andy, who's actually Jude's doctor, who's not actually, he's a, I want to say it was pediatrician, but he's the only doctor Jude will let near him and treat him, and like what the lengths he's going to try and help Jude as well, and the communication he has with William and sorting it out. And there was a scene between Andy and William that I've just, it broke me. I was like, why are you guys doing this? This is a person that you both love, and now you're just taking out on each other. And I'm like, just stop. Please just stop doing this to me. And yeah, I'm just crazy. We see the events to why Jude moves out of their apartment that they shared because of an incident that happened, and their reactions to it was so true and needed. And I'm glad it did give that bit of a kick up the butt for Jude to get him to move and stuff, although it did lead to a decision that I said was questionable and a bit not something I feel like he needed, but he had to do. And then you see this interaction between him and Harold because of that decision that was made, and I'm like, why? Because some of the things that Harold said, like, it wasn't harmful and it wasn't mean and it wasn't really truly directed at Jude, but like obviously with Jude and the state that he's in and his mental state and his history and his past and stuff, he's really taken that in, and like you see him repeat it at points as well, and it's just like, no, not our Jude, please, not our Jude. So yeah, and William, obviously like I said, he moves out of the apartment as well, but he's rarely home because he's doing this thing, and yet even though he has his own apartment, he's still with Jude at Jude's apartment. And you know, they talk about how it's only just a temporary thing whilst renovations and things like that being done, but like deep down, you know, he doesn't want to leave Jude. And then Jude's like, but I feel like a responsibility to him and I don't want him to have this responsibility and this worry. And but then you see William and he's like, and I want to do it and things, and I'm like, please just talk to each other, like, please. So yeah, it's crazy. I'm currently in the middle of a chapter. I'm on page 252, so I am gonna stop rambling to you guys because yeah, I need to continue picking this book up and continue reading. I'm going to give you guys more updates later when I've read a lot more, but my plan of action is to stay up quite late tonight and read as much as I can of A Little Life, because I'm gripped and hooked and it's going absolutely crazy and insane. So yeah, you guys will get more better and proper updates later as we go, because I will do them more fresh to me reading. But yeah, that's everything since last night's, I believe. If I've missed anything, I apologise, but yeah, just know that I'm loving it and we have crazy annotations. Okay, and I'm only, what was I think I said it to Catherine, like 32%, 35% of the way through, I think it was. So yeah, just, it's crazy, but I'm gonna go back to reading now because I already wasted about 8 minutes of my sprints talking to you guys. It's not wasted, I'm joking, but like, we need to go back to reading, so I'll come back later. So I'm on page 295. You can't actually really tell, of A Little Life, and yes, I'm using the light that is attached to my book. I'm partway through a chapter in part, I can't even remember, I'm gonna say 4. And oh god, I don't even know what the last thing I said to you guys was. I don't even know. But we got more of JB, and we've learned that he's like struggled with the addiction of meth, although he never called himself an addict. This is really awkward lighting. And you know, the way he feels like he's been abandoned by the other guys, and how he feels like they all changed and they're not the same, and he very much still wishes that they were back in their college days and stuff. And it was so heartbreaking to read, and especially when you learn that he got himself involved with a person who he feels like now owns him and feels like he can't escape. And then when the three of them try to help him, oh my god, I was gone. I'm gone again. Oh my god, I'm crying again. I literally like broke. I broke so hard. I'm literally crying again. Oh my god. There's tears. You can't see them, but there's tears already again. He done what this person, Jackson, who he feels owned by, did. He done an imitation of Jude, and like, oh my god, it was heartbreaking. And like, seeing how obviously that affected Jude, and you know, Jude's like, he never thought one of his friends would think that, let alone tell him if he did think that. And like, watching how now they had to force him into rehab and stuff and get him help. Like, he literally was given a choice because he got knocked out by William after he did the imitation. And literally watching their friendship fall apart, because we're now, Jude's just turned 40 now, or near coming up 40. And this happened when Jude was 36, 37, somewhere around there. So it's been a few years, and it destroyed their friendship. Like, JB has tried, like, to apologise, you know, and say that, you know, how cruel he was, like, he admitted it. But Jude just can't forgive him for it, and you know what, you can understand, like, William no longer talks to JB because of it. Malcolm still does, even though you felt like he had to ask Jude for permission, and Jude's like, well, you don't need to. Like, Jude still has so much love for JB and still wishes him so well and still does odd little things to show that. But he just can't forgive him and have that friendship, and like, it's so understandable. But I just ended that chapter off. And they were at a friend's wedding, and obviously they all got sat together because they were the 4 of them. they've been friends for 2 decades. And it ended off with, oh my god, I'm crying. Jude doing that imitation. And saying that JB was right, and oh my god. It broke me. That is just pure broke me. And I'm so glad I'm doing this in this lighting because you cannot see me crying. But yeah, like that just destroyed me, and I'm like, this such strong friendship. Just watching it crumble the way it did. So heartbreaking, and I'm so hoping something happens that not necessarily fixes it, because I don't think something like that you can ever fix, but it feels meant to do something. I can't even look at you guys because I'm crying and everything, but I hope in some way they can find a way to have some form of a friendship again and to have that connection again. I really do hope, but we shall wait and see. But it is, I don't even know what time it is. It's 20 to 11. Let me now put my book down. Like, clear my face up a little bit. And that, you know. I'm just going to continue reading because I can't stop. Am I going to destroy myself? Yes, but I can't stop. I'm going to update you guys when I can. But yeah, we're about to get fully invested some more into this book. I'm not ready for this. I'm not ready at all to be destroyed in the way that I'm about to be destroyed. Good morning. I'm coming to the near end of a chapter, but I thought I'd come in to update you guys. Yes, I do still have my light on because it's actually really gloomy and I can barely see the page. But I'm now on page 403. We are making our way. It's very difficult to see, isn't it, with the light on there? Oh well. We have more annotations still, if you guys can tell. You guys would have seen some clips from me in the night. Oh, I was full blown ugly crying. And I'm updating you now because I'm going to probably start crying talking about these things and also where we're at in the book. So be warned, this is your warning. There's going to be more tears, so prepare yourself. I've actually had to take notes so I remembered things that I wanted to tell you guys about and talk with you about. After we last spoke, they obviously William's been away a lot, you know, with his work and stuff, and when he comes back, you know, they try and have conversations and he still tries to get Jude to open up to him. And this one, they had like an argument about relationships, because, you know, he's never seen Jude in a relationship, and at the time, William's girlfriend had a friend who was interested in Jude, and, you know, and he's trying to, like, you know, well, why not, like, what's so wrong, like, why do you think you don't deserve to be in a relationship? And it turns into this thing, and then literally not long after that, after William goes back to filming, he meets Caleb, who I want to fucking murder. I want to fucking murder Caleb. When I first met him, I thought, oh yes, here's some hope for Jude. He's gonna, you know, these things is gonna start looking up for him. No, Hanya didn't want to do that to us. Give us a happy moment for Jude. This bastard is so cruel to Jude, and the things he would say and the abuse. Oh my god, that's when you guys will see me ugly cry, because the abuse that Jude was on the end of from this Caleb, the beatings, the rape, the degrading of him. Like, there's a page that I wanted to read something out to you guys from. Can I find it? Right, this is one of the first things that was really, like, bad that Caleb said to him. And this was probably the tamest of the lot, and it was, he stopped. I want to keep seeing you, he said at last, but I can't be around these accessories to weakness, to disease. I just can't. I hate it. It embarrasses me. It makes me feel not depressed but furious, like I need to fight against it. He paused again. I just didn't know that's who you were when I met you, he said at last. I thought I could be okay with it, but I'm not sure I can. Can you understand that? He swallowed. He wanted to cry, but he could understand it. He felt exactly as Caleb did. I can, he said. Like, that's the tamest, but, like, Jude never asked for this. He didn't want to be disabled. He didn't want to, you know, live every day in pain. And then you've just gone and made him feel so fucking shitty. And yeah, yeah, that's when it started for me. And then it just got progressively worse and worse and worse. And I'm just like, Jude, get out. And obviously he's lying to people. When he's shown up to Andy with this massive bruise on his face, he's like, oh, it's wheelchair tennis. You know, the defense and the lying comes into play. And then you finally have a moment when Harold, like, finds out, because him and Jude are at dinner and Caleb shows up drunk. And it clicks into place for Harold, and he loses his shit. But later that night, when Jude gets home, who is there? Who stole the spare keys and is waiting for him in the apartment? Caleb. And the things he did to Jude there, the stripping him of his clothes so he couldn't see his tire body and the scars, forcing him to stand outside naked, raping him, throwing him down the stairs. I was gone. I was so furious and so upset and, like, disgusted, not at Jude, but at the fact that he was being put through this by this person. Like, it disgusted me that Caleb could do these things to a person, and somebody who is as nice as Jude. Like, Jude is the loveliest person going, but, like, yeah, it was so infuriating for me, and I was just so mad, and I just, yeah, like, I was crying because I was upset that it was happening, but I was also crying because I was so furious. And I was just an entire mess last night at like 1 o'clock in the morning, and I'm messaging Moore and I'm like, Moore, I'm not okay, like, I'm destroyed, I'm not okay. And I'm just like, yeah, it purely upset me. And like, and when Harold finds him the next morning, He refuses to make the report to the police. He refuses for anybody else to find out besides Andy and Harold. Like, he's like so scared, and I hate it because you see this so often with victims of abuse, and it really breaks my heart that they are so scared that they can't make these reports and get the justice that they deserve. And there is I think I read it in there, it does talk about how they don't receive the punishment for it though. They don't receive the deserved punishment for the actions that they have inflicted and the consequences that they have caused. And it infuriates me, it really, really infuriates me. We learn a little bit more about Jude's past and how he used to sell his body for food and transportation and shelter. And we find out more about Brother Luke, who seemed like this massive saviour, and I had already had inklings earlier on because of the way things were said and wording and all that. I had inklings of where it had got to, but reading it all and how he manipulated him into trusting him and to saying that they were going to go somewhere safe, that they could build a cabin, they could have a life, they could have all these things. And then as they're making their journey, he's selling Jude's body to men for money. And then he's manipulating Jude and having sex with him. Jude knows it's wrong, but he feels people have told him he was born for this, this is what he was made for, and Jude believes that. He says how he volunteered himself for it, but I'm but no, you didn't. You were manipulated into this. You didn't volunteer into this, you were manipulated into it. And Brother Luke manipulates Jude into making him say, because he doesn't really feel it. He has the argument with himself about why he shouldn't, but why he should love him. But he manipulates him into saying it because Jude he subconsciously knows that if he says no, the possible reactions and actions of Brother Luke that could come. And it's so infuriating just watching him slowly withdraw into himself and what Brother Luke done. And we just got to the end there, how he's taken to the doctor because he thinks he's got something from one of his men. And Jude's but there's something wrong with these doctors as well. And I'm yes, there is, because no true doctor would stand by and just do an examination like that. A true doctor would take action to save that boy and get that boy out of the situation he's in. So yeah, and I was saying, Brother Luke manipulated him into loving him, and manipulated him into thinking, oh, because you love me and we love each other, we share the same bed, we sleep naked, we kiss, we have sex because we love each other. And it's no, just fuck off. Just fucking leave this boy alone. It's infuriating me having to watch this play out and absolutely breaking my heart and soul. And I'm just how can I keep going? And yeah, and then present day, has got so bad for him after the incident. Well, I say incident with Caleb, the abuse from Caleb. He's still lying to his friends about it and that he's okay. And, William notices that he's not, and William, bless his soul, stays in his room. He refuses to stay in any other room. He will sleep in Jude's room on the sofa to monitor him and make sure he's okay. And, Jude talks about how he starts feeling better and, how having him nearby makes him feel safe because he knows he's in a space with somebody that would never hurt him. And I'm it breaks my soul. It breaks my soul. And when William goes back to filming, it turns all bad for him again. There was an incident as well when he was walking with William and he thought he saw Caleb, and he just like pulled William into an alcove and like hid, but it wasn't Caleb, it was somebody else. And like obviously that's where William got worried and started like monitoring him. But yeah, once he goes back, the last present day scene that I've read before we got to the bits with Brother Luke and stuff in the motels and that was Jude killing himself. It was Jude slitting his arms. And that broke me. He has prepared his will, he's written letters for everybody, he has literally put everything into action. The letters and the wills are lined up. He's rung Richard, who lives in the apartment building with him, like owns the building, to get the plumber in the next morning because there's a leak at a certain time because he's away on business and things. Like, he has put every action into place. And the last thing we had was him slitting his arms. And it broke me. Absolutely broke me. And I was like, no, not Jude. And I'm gonna continue reading, like I said, because it literally went from that straight into the past for Brother Luke. And I'm like, I've got to a bit with the rest of the chapter, like, I think we're starting to hit back to present day, and I'm not prepared for it. I'm not prepared for it, but we're gonna do it, and I'm crying again. Oh, you guys are probably watching this thinking, Sky, you're a mess, and you will be correct. Why did I pick this book up? Why did I do this to myself? I'm now going to have to put a warning at the beginning of this video because of the things that I'm talking about. I'm not okay. I'm not. And I'm going to get myself together a little bit. Clean myself up a little bit. Not too much because I'm going to be a crime mess in a minute anyway. And then we're going to continue with this book. I have just under 320 pages left, and to be honest with you, I'm going to try and read as much of that today as I can and really try and get through this book, because I feel like I just need to rip this band-aid off and just do it, because I am so gripped into this story as well in like such a depressing way. I'm reading these back bits by like things, I can't even think of the name right now because I'm a wreck. And I have to agree with them, like, I'm never going to forget this book. This book is going to stay with me now for the rest of my life. Well, I'm going to go destroy myself, and I'll come back to you guys later with an update. It's currently coming up to 10:30. And yeah, we shall see how this goes, but prepared to see a lot more tears. So I think I saw you guys at like 10:30 this morning. It's now almost 8 o'clock at night. I've literally just been in bed all day reading. I've had the girls in here, I've had dinner, like I've been so distracted that I've not actually picked up the camera. But I am on page 514. I'm partway through a chapter, and I'm going to leave it there for tonight because I need to chill because I am suffering so badly with a flare up right now. My back is in absolute agony, so I need to rest, I need to chill. So I've got a place where I can stop, and we're going to stop there. And I think it's a good place for me to stop because of what we just had happen and like what's to come. So I think that's the best place for me to stop. But I got a lot of notes again to go through things. I'm probably going to miss bits, but I'm going to update you guys as best as I can on what's happened. Obviously last time we spoke, this morning, Judah tried to kill himself. Thankfully, there was a miscommunication and the plumbing people arrived 9 o'clock that night, so he was saved. And William cancelled filming to come back, and he did have to go back off again to finish for a week, but like he dropped it all and was there for him. And you know, we watched Jude really struggle with the fact that he's survived this and how he feels actually disappointed and a failure because he has survived. But coming from all that, and like, you know, he refuses to talk to anybody, so he refuses to talk to a therapist. But he does start opening up to William a little bit, and William does start getting the odd little stories and little bits and pieces and stuff of his past. So it was so nice to see him finally opening up to at least somebody, even if it's not necessarily the right person. We learn when he first started harming himself, when he was younger, and when he was with brother Luke. And brother Luke, I don't know why I call him brother Luke, but that dickhead was the one that taught him how to cut himself, for him to stop throwing himself against the walls, because that's how he was originally harming himself. So then he was being bruised, and because it was looked bad for the clients didn't like it, he taught him to cut himself instead. What sick fucking bastard does that? Like, he is a sick fucking bastard. Why would you fucking do that to a kid? I think he's like 12 at the time. Like, what the actual fuck? Like, what the actual fucking fuck? Absolutely fucking infuriating. And then we also have the thing of when the actual cops find them, and we learn that Brother Luke's name isn't Brother Luke. I don't know what his fucking name was. I've ignored it. I don't give a shit. And do you know what he does? He leaves Jude in the bed, because that's where they were. As you can imagine what they were doing. And locks himself in the bathroom and kills himself. The coward. The fucking sick coward to fucking do that. Like, what a fucking bastard. Like, I can't stand the bloke. He absolutely infuriates me. Absolutely does. We then kind of go back into William's perspective a little bit, and him starting to realise that, you know, he is actually quite famous. Like, you know, he's done really well for himself, and like, you know, he never used to think of himself as famous, and these little things are happening and noticing, and it's starting to become a bit more obvious for him. And you know, you can see him trying to kind of deal with that and cope with that and find ways to still be able to live a normal life amongst all of that. And the cutest thing of it was William, because he's an actor and stuff, and they were talking things about, like, you know, how they don't feel real, like they're not allowed to be real and things like that. And he talks about how Jude makes him feel real, like makes him feel like a real person, and not just somebody that plays many different roles and is many different people and things like that. Like, it was just so sweet. I was like, my heart, I'm like, please. I'm just like, I love you guys so much. Like, it's just was, these little things were not making up obviously for all the bad shit, but like, they were helping heal me along the way a little bit. And amongst William discussing that Jude makes him feel real, he also starts noticing his feelings for Jude. And you know, he does question it, because he's like, well, is it just because, you know, I'm feeling this sense of sympathy for him and, like, you know, this responsibility to look after him and to see him just, he's like, is that why I'm now feeling these ways about him? Is that why I'm feeling like I want something more with him? And you know, and he takes the time to really try and figure it out with it. Is that, or if it's something that's always kind of been there? And you know, and he does figure out, like, you know, it's been there, it's always been there. He believes that, you know, that's why his relationships never worked and stuff, because deep down it was Jude that he wanted, like deep down, like subconsciously, without really realizing it. And it was just so cute. And then when he not confronts Jude about it, because I mean, he does speak to Andy and try and get Andy's advice, and Andy's like, look, if you're going to go into it, you need to go into it prepared for forever, because it's going to be difficult and it's going to be a hard journey. you know, he takes all that into consideration. He talks with Jude, and like, he opens up to Jude and he's like, look, I attracted you, I feel things for you. And Jude, bless his soul, tries to do everything he can to diminish that and to be like, look, you don't want me because of this, you don't want me because of this. And he's like, look, if you're trying to tell me no because you don't want that, you don't feel the same way, then I'll respect that and I'll wait. But if you're just telling me no because you're scared, then you need to find a better reason. And I was like so proud of William, because like we've learned with William, he's there for him and he talks up, but he doesn't talk up fully to him, and he doesn't really push Jude a lot. Don't get me wrong, he does, but just nothing crazy. So to see him to start little pushes, it's like really, really cute. And they do give it a go. They do start a relationship, and it's really slow and it's really progressive, and I'm just watching that blossom, and it's just really, really cute. And you know, they do start telling people a little bit at a time about their relationship, the odd people, and then it is decided to go public because obviously the position that William is in. It's also discovered, you also find out that Caleb actually dies. He gets pancreatic cancer and it's in the newspaper and stuff. And William then finally finds out the truth about the car accident and what happened to Jude. And he's just absolutely distraught by it. And yeah, so we do finally have that bit opening up for it and stuff. As they've made the announcement, of the relationship, it become public. William does start questioning things of whether he did the right thing, whether he's, you know, whether he was prepared for this relationship with Jude and prepared for what it would entail and what it would take and stuff and that. And he does question it, but then at the same time he realizes why he's there with Jude. Like he realizes that actually no, I do love this person. Like he helps me as much as I help him. It's not solely that he's trying to fix Jude, but Jude does help him as well. Like he has that realization that it's not a fix. He's not with him to try and fix him. He's with him because he wants to be with him and because they help each other. So it kind of like, you see this whole mental conversation that he has with himself. Now the bit that really upsets me, and I just really wish Jude would just tell him straight. I really wish he would just tell him it straight, because it's breaking my heart watching him do it. But he actually forces himself to have sex with William, and not in a sense that William is forcing him. William's not. William's really patient with him and really listens to what he's saying and stuff. But obviously Jude's still not told him why he hasn't really had sex and the story behind it. But Jude feels like he owes it to William to have sex with him because of how much William does for Jude. So he's like, well, I can make this sacrifice, I can have sex with you, even though I'm uncomfortable with it and I don't like it and I feel nasty and I feel shameful and I feel disgusting after it, but I'm gonna do it for you because you do so much for me. And it's like, no, Jude, no, just talk to him, just tell him. Like, if you have this conversation with him, he will understand and he will listen to you, and you can find something together to just, you know, make it easier for you both and things like that. And it really, really, like, it was really breaking my heart. We also can get to a point where Jude was doing well. He wasn't self-harming and things like that, or he wasn't doing it the level of what he was doing it, and he definitely decreased in it. He was still self-harming, but nothing to the levels of what he was. And then things had got bad, and William finds him in the bathroom self-harming, and oh my god, broke me. William self-harmed. William took the razor blade and did it himself to prove to Jude, like, this is how I feel. Like, Jude is there screaming at him, being like, no, stop, you're hurting yourself. And Jude's like, and William's just like, well, now you know how it is for us, like for me. And you know, he talks about it's not the same, but it's like, no, it is. Obviously, like, Jude does have his reasons to why his mental health is declined the way it has. But yeah, and it absolutely just destroyed me, that scene, just watching him do it. and Jude's just, yeah, it really broke me. And you know, Jude's really trying to not self-harm. He's really trying, like you can see he is trying as best as he can to not do it. And you know, sometimes he's getting down to like just twice a week, which is a massive improvement from what he was doing. And you know, they start progressing. They're 2 years into a relationship, and oh my god, when I saw that, we had the little jump to 2 years, I was like, I love it. So that's kind of all things that have happened in their 2-year relationship. I kind of just went pretty clear with that. And they're building their first home together, and that's really cute. And like, but where it is, it's kind of then also triggered a few when they've gone a little bit on the grounds of where they are, where they're building the house. It's triggered a few memories for Jude. And a few other things have happened, and I've ended off with Jude self-harming himself quite badly and giving himself a 3rd-degree burn. And it got to the point where Andy has told him if he doesn't tell William within a week, because William was away filming at the time, doesn't tell William within the week, he's telling him. And yeah, now Jude is trying to find a way to not have to tell William and to make Andy renegotiate and move on, and you know, yeah, and to forget it kind of thing. But I think this is going to be a massive boiling point in their relationship. Jude begged Andy not to stand because he was like, he will leave me. And you know, and Jude's like, Andy's saying to Jude, he's like, but this one would be your fault. You're not being honest and truthful to a person who is doing everything to help you and to look after you and to care for you and love you. And you're lying to him constantly. Because Judah tried to tell Andy that it was a cooking accident, and Andy's like, well no it's not, because it's like the perfect round circle of a 3rd-degree burn. That's not, you can't do that in an accident. So yeah, we've got to a point where William's just got home, and yeah, Jude obviously still hasn't told him yet. He managed to windle a few days out of 9 days to be exact, out of Andy as an extension because of it being the holiday season and stuff. But I'm really panicking, and I think we're about to go into like a William kind of perspective. And yeah, I'm stressed. I'm stressed, which is why I'm going to stop it there, because in a sense we kind of rounded off with we've rounded off still knowing that obviously he's about to tell William needs to find out about it, you know, things about to go to shit. But I feel like we're not purely bang in the middle of it, because it's kind of just stopped with like William being home and we're like there. So I feel like it's the perfect place to just kind of stop. But yeah, I'm really loving this story, and I'm really enjoying it. And I've got 206 pages left, which I'm hopefully going to finish tomorrow. Hopefully, we shall see. This is the annotations. I keep running out of tabs. As I'm annotating, I keep running out. But yeah, I think that's like everything that happened. Since I last updated you guys, I probably missed a bunch of stuff, and I've kind of gone everything very kind of like briefly over the top. I haven't really gone too far detailed because there's so much I could say, but like that's just a brief overview for you, and just know that it's still destroying me heart and soul. Still destroying me heart and soul. But yeah, we are putting progress, and I am so scared for what is to come, because I just have this crazy, like, I don't know, this is just like this sixth sense going on that I just think something's gonna happen, and I'm not okay. I'm prepared for what I think it's gonna be. I'm not okay at all. So yeah, I'm gonna stop, recover a little bit, get my pain under control, and then come back to it tomorrow and go from there, because I'm scared. But there we go. That's where we're at. That's the update. If you guys have read A Little Life yourself, please let me know, because I'm intrigued. I want to talk to people about this that have read it and see what your guys' thoughts are and stuff. I like to think if you guys have been watching this video, it's because you've read it, because it is spoiler vlog. If not, let me know your thoughts anyway, based on what I've told you this happened. But yeah, I'm a mess. But yeah, me and Dan have been checking in, and he is breaking just as much as I am. So Dan, if you're watching this, I apologise, but you did double date yourself to get this book. So you're just as much to blame as me, so I'm just saying. But yeah, I'm gonna leave it there, and I'm gonna come back to you guys tomorrow when I've read some more. It probably won't be until the afternoon, evening, because obviously I want to do work in the morning and that. But yeah, we shall see. I will catch you guys later. Morning. So it's been a couple of days since we last spoke. I didn't read anything of A Little Life on Monday, and then I didn't get till like 10 o'clock last night until I could sit and read, and then I was reading it until 4:30 in the morning. I was non-stop. So we've got some notes to go through, so we're going to go through those and we're going to discuss those points. I'm now on page 608. So look how much I have left. And I think things are about to start breaking me all over again. I do have more tabs to put in, but I ran out of the pink ones again, and I wasn't getting up in the middle of the night to get them, so I need to go through and re-add those in and add those in. So I will do that at some point. But the plan of action is to finish A Little Life today. I have rune sprints this afternoon/evening, so I'll probably get the majority of it done then, because I need to do a few things this morning here, work-wise and stuff. So that's my priority this morning, is those. If I get a chance before me and my mum have to head out to read some of this, then I will. If don't, I'll come back and go on sprints. It's fine, it's good. But yeah, this is wow. I don't remember what the last thing was when we spoke. But since we have had William's side on their sex life and his thoughts and stuff, and it's like he knows that there's something wrong, and he knows it's not feeling right in a sense, and he's asked Jude about it, and because Jude has lied and said no, things are okay, it's great, he's like, okay. Like, William has a thing for not pushing Jude, and it's like sometimes you just gotta push that little bit, you know. I'm like, come on, push, you know, just a little bit, because it's not fair to either of them in that situation. And then William's been away on filming and stuff, and he's come back and he's discovered the truth behind the burn on Jude's arm, because Andy rang Jude. William answered because Jude wasn't there, and Andy kind of blurted by mistake. So he learns the truth, and he has lost his shit. Which you can't blame the dude. Like, that's crazy. And at that point, William does push, and he does demand answers about brother Luke and who he is and what happened with him. And Jude does tell him his backstory with brother Luke there and what happened. This is on their way to Thanksgiving dinner with Harold and Julia, right? And they just obviously have this massive argument about it, because obviously, you know, that was, I don't want to use the word extreme, because obviously any form of self-harm is not good, and it is obviously, if somebody's got to the point where they're self-harming, it is obviously bad. But like, burning oneself purposely is obviously very, very severe. And they get there, and yeah, everything's off and stuff. And so this is actually technically the night before Thanksgiving, and they get there and it's in the night, and William wakes up to find Jude on bed. He's in the bathroom, self-harming, and things do get physical. Now, he's not being abusive. I want to clarify that. William's not being abusive, but he does go so far as to be ripping Jude's clothes off him to find the razor blade and to find where he cut himself. And he kind of just loses it and stuff, and says they both say some nasty things to each other, and they end up travelling back the next day home, and not staying for Thanksgiving dinner, which I was like, oh, because Harold and Julia Harold could tell there was something wrong, like really, really wrong, and I think Julia could obviously notice it as well. When they get home, William goes off wandering, doing his thing and stuff, and then he talks to Andy again, and they have some realization. He goes back home and finds Jude and stuff, and Jude tells him everything. Like, Jude lays it all down for him. They literally spend days discussing it between sleep and everything. Like, they do nothing else but talk about Jude's past, and we learn more about his time in the home and the abuse he suffered there, and his attempts to escape, and then his actual succeeding in escaping after a assault. We then learned about his travels to Boston and how he was selling his body and sexual favours for the travelling to Boston, to the men that were just taking him to certain points and stuff. And then obviously we learned that he's got himself sick. He ends up falling asleep by a tree, and next thing you know, he's waking up in a car. And this is where Dr. Trailer comes into it, and oh my god, asshole. Fucking asshole. I was tearing up again here, okay? Alright. We know this is bad. I teared up. And he actually gets Jude better. He puts him on antibiotics, gets him better, but he locks him in the basement. And then as soon as Jude's better, but you know where this is going? The sexual, I'm calling it sexual assault. Does Jude do it willingly? Yes, because he's literally left in no other position otherwise, and he is underaged. Like, the dude's 14 when he first gets there, and he has his 15th birthday there in that basement. And then it all kind of escalates. Jude tries to escape. He tries, but he ends up being caught and beaten badly. And then time goes on. And then this Dr. Trailer takes him out, puts him in the trunk of his car, drives somewhere, and makes him run whilst he chases him in the car. So this car accident is technically an incident involving a car, but it was no accident, because this dude is making Jude run to the point that he can no longer run because he's run so much in this car. And when he finally falls for the last time and can't go back up, right over him. What sick bastard does that to a 15-year-old? Like, what? You have really got to be fucking messed up in your head, do you know what I mean? Like, fuck that shit. And I was so angry. If you could have seen me last night in this, I was so angry. And then it kind of picks back, and then we kind of go into the part with Anna and the help that she gave him and all that, because I'm pretty certain I would have discussed that with you guys, because we've already had that side of the story and the setting up and the meeting Harold and her helping him get ready for college. I'm pretty sure we've discussed that, so I don't feel like I need to go into too much detail there. But you know, he does get Dr. Trailer in jail, and he is able to move on and stuff. We then move on again a little bit more in time, and you know, we've been together for 4 years, and we learn that William is seeking sex elsewhere because he and Jude spoke about it and it wasn't happening. William wasn't going to let him force himself through it because he wasn't enjoying it and it made him uncomfortable. Understandable. Did they technically have the conversation without having the conversation? Yes. There's things that it was like briefly discussed, like literally surface level discussed. So, you know, I can understand, but at the same time, I wasn't happy with it. I'm like, I think because in my head, I'm like, is sex really that important? Are you really that desperate for sex that even though you're with this person that you love, you're willing to go and seek it somewhere else? He talks about how he does it primarily with women. I'm like, but that makes no difference. Like, and I know they've technically had the conversation and Jude is okay with it. Jude just doesn't want to hear about it. But I'm like, I still personally cannot grasp that. And to me, I was like, no, just please stop. Like, I understand you have your needs. And I understand that you guys have technically had this conversation and Jude is technically okay with it. And, you know, but I was like, please stop. Just please stop. I don't want to see this. I don't want to know what's happening here, because this to me just ruined William that little bit for me. And I was like, is it really that important? Like, you're really that desperate? Like I said, I can see it. I can see why, but I can't accept it. I can't accept it, okay? I've been with these characters too long, seen them go through too much. I'm not here for it. I can't accept it, and I'm sorry, okay? But I can't. It's not talked about too much, and we don't go too much into it, but like, I was like, can we hurry up and get past this point, please? It's like, are we done now? Moving on a little bit more time. William finally wins some awards, guys. They're all doing so well in life at this point. They've all getting their turning points. They're all having things that happen for them, and they're just making their progress really show, and their success really show. And he wins some awards and stuff. And, you know, he shouts out Jude, and I was like, after what we just read, and you're getting all sentimental like this, I was having a moment. I was not very happy with Bunny at the time. Okay, I was not very happy with Bunny. I'll admit it. And you know, and Jude throws him a party. With the help of Richard, but he throws him a party, and I'm just like, it just made me so happy that he did those things, like things that do make him slightly a little bit uncomfortable. We also learned that Jude's received a few times emails, letters, things like that, forms of communication from either people claiming to be ex-boys from the home or ex-clients. He actually has one where he receives a picture of himself undressed, and I'm like, some sick photo just took a picture of him, kept it, and then when things are starting to like come out about him and like, you know, his relationship's being shown, nothing crazy, but like his relationship is being put out there a little bit, because he's not really being in the public eye. He's not really going out with William because he doesn't, one, it doesn't make him comfortable, and two, he doesn't want to put that on William and it to affect William because of how he still feels about himself and how he looks. And like, this person's seen that and they're sending him that, and I'm like, are you okay, sir? Are you okay? Because there is something wrong with you. And Jude just does what he's meant to be doing, which he was told to do when he first met Anna, which is just send it all to the FBI, which he does. And stuff. So we kind of learned that as well, which we never knew, which was really interesting. Like that, learning all of this information that's there as well, happening in the background, and I'm like, you look at some things differently. Do you know what I mean? And then we've hit the point. This is like the last little stuff I've read. I've probably missed things because I was probably so focused on reading that I've only then got these main kind of points down. So if I've missed something, I apologise, but I definitely recommend picking this up if you guys have not already and you just thought you'd watch this one for the sake of it. Because I hope you've read it if you're watching this spoiler vlog. If you haven't read it and you're watching this because you thought, why not, do pick it up, okay? Do pick it up, definitely. I know I've kind of been going into details about it, but do go pick it up. But the last lot we've left off at is Jude getting worse. Like, his health is declining. He's being able to walk less. He keeps getting these infections. Wounds keep opening up on his leg. He's been getting a bone infection. Like, he has deteriorated so bad. He's getting more fevers, he's getting in the hospital and out the hospital so much more, he's been on IVs, like so many things, and he's like, it's got to the point where he's tried to do things still, like he's had a holiday, he's still tried to walk and things, but it's got so bad to the point that he had to have amputation. Like, he had one bad episode, William wasn't with him, and he kind of like, he wanted to go for a walk, he asked Harold knows it's not what he's meant to be doing because he can't do it, but because Jude begs him, he gives in and he does it, and you know, and Harold does feel really bad about it, but William ends up coming and saving Jude because Jude just can't get back, and it all leads to the point where he has to have the amputation and lose both of his legs, like from the knees down. They were able to save it, his knees and that, but I was just so distraught. Like, Jude, the way Jude talks about it is that they are his legs, they are him. If he loses his legs, he lets Dr. Trailer win, because obviously that's where his issues with his legs come from, is because of Dr. Trailer hitting him with the car. So he feels like him giving up his legs is him letting him win, and I'm like, no, you're still winning, you're still beating him by being here and keep, you know, doing what you're doing. You're a big litigator, you've got a relationship, you've got a family, like, you've got these things, you're winning. And yeah, it comes down, like, Jude had actually only had decreased the amount he was self-harming. He was only cutting once a week, and then because of this he ends up cutting himself because he just gets so desperate. And it's like, no, the progress. I was like, the progress, Jude, why did you do that? I was like, no, I was a mess, and I'm like, this is just destroying me. And yeah, it's so crazy. My lap camera's about to die, so I need to hurry up. They have a little Thanksgiving dinner at their place instead. He's still recovering, he's still having the nightmares. William is still helping him through it and stuff, but yeah, William is still there for him, and some of the nicest things have been said as well. There at the end, that had me going as well. But yeah, that's kind of what's happened. I think there's not been too much else. We're just kind of in Jude's recovery period for having his amputation, and I think we're about to continue on with some of William's perspective again. I'll tell you what I was surprised about. We've not really seen JB or Malcolm anymore. We had quite a bit of them at the beginning, but now we kind of just get glimpses of them. So obviously Jude clearly is very much our main focus in this story, and obviously William comes into that by being his partner. But I thought we would have had a little bit more JB and Malcolm, but we haven't. So hey ho. But I'm gonna go because my camera is literally about to die on me. And then I'll come back to you guys later. Probably when I finished it, if I'm being honest. I'm gonna just devour the last lot the moment I can and come back to you guys when I finished. So yeah, that's where we're at. I'm gonna go get these things done so that I can then get reading as quickly as possible, and yeah, we shall come back. I think that is everything I needed to say to you guys. I am coming in with my last update before the end. I've just come off sprints. I'm on page 657. I have 63 pages left to go, so I'm going to stay up and read those. But I thought we could just do a little quick roundup on what's read so far. To be honest, a lot, but not a lot. We kind of just learned some more about Jude's recovery from his amputation, like the difficulties of it. We learned that he was actually in a coma as well at one point, you know, and that it's been quite an up and down battle, and like we just learned a lot more on that, and it like was really just like, this boy never gets a break, like this bloke just keeps getting hit with it. We kind of reached them in their 50s, late 40s, early 50s, and their little trips that they do together, and like the little cute moments, and like how for his 50th there was always this one thing that they talked about doing that Jude really wanted to do, and also, you know, they never thought that Jude would not ever be able to do it at some point, if that kind of makes sense. And Jude like kind of plans the last little bit of it. There is a lot to the story. I'm kind of just briefly going over that bit. But yeah, it kind of plans it and surprised William with it for his birthday, which was really, really cute and stuff. And you could just see how much it meant to William and how adorable it was. Jude takes William to his first work party. So Jude has not taken William to any of his work parties before, just because he just doesn't, he says to William he'd be bored with it and stuff, but he just kind of has this fear behind it. But he takes him to his first one, and that was such a monumental moment that he kind of like just let that public barrier kind of go and took him to that. And you know, it was really cute to see and to watch and stuff. And then this is where I started crying on live. There at the home, Lantern House, William's gone to pick up Malcolm, Sophie and JB from the train station. JB's doesn't come in the end. And William, Sophie and Malcolm die in a car accident. How could our author kill off William? I have so much hate for this author to do that to our William, to take our William from us. I know earlier I was saying that there was bits that I didn't like that he did, but like, he didn't deserve to die for it, okay? Oh my god, I was distraught, absolutely distraught by it. I just cannot believe that the author killed our William off. It's just not like, and we learn, obviously the author is very detailed anyway, but like we go into details on what happened there and like how Williams just went flying out the car and headfirst into the trunk of an elm tree and just completely crushed his face, like his face was just destroyed, and that Jude was the one that identified him based on a birthmark and a mole, because his face was just so destroyed. We learned Sophie was like crushed, like she was just obliterated because she was on the side that the truck went into. And Malcolm was pronounced brain dead and they kept him on life support. I think it was like 4 days before his parents decided to pull it. And it's just like, why? Like, we haven't even seen much of Malcolm really since the beginning, and like that's still here. Like, what did Malcolm do? What did he do to deserve that? It was just, I was like, no, why? You know, and it kind of shows we're now in like kind of Jude's period after, and how he's struggling to deal with it. And he talks about how he was very much drugged up during the services. He doesn't remember the services for each of them. He doesn't remember much that happened. You learn that he actually, the days after the accident, he was actually in the hospital on suicide watch, and that you learn that the rental car that William was driving was defective, airbags, the truck driver was drunk. You like learn all these things, and I'm just like, why would you do that? Why? You've crushed my soul enough as it is in this book, and now you're gonna go and do that to me. I was like, no, 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 not happening. Not happy. I was not a happy bunny reading that. Okay, anybody on those lives, you know. Yeah. We learned that actually, and Jude himself kind of says it as well, like, the one thing William wanted him to do was to stop self-harming. And after he lost William, he stopped self-harming. He was like, the one thing William wanted me to do, I stopped doing, but it cost me. And I'm like, why? I'm like, so distraught. You know, he talks about as well about how, you know, all he's wanted to do is die. Like, he's tempted to die, kill himself before, but he's like, now I have this happen, this, like, a reason to do this, is how he words it. And he's like, but I can't. but he doesn't. And it's like, it's like losing William has made life really hit for him, in a sense of like, he's very much like grounded now, if that makes sense. Like, he's just grounded in life after his loss of William, because it's just, he says it as well, he doesn't want to self-harm because he doesn't want to lose the numbness. If he self-harm, he's not going to feel numb. And it's just like, really? Why? Just why? And yeah, we just then kind of been looking at Jude's kind of like what he's been going, like, keeping busy with work, and he's not really been communicating with anybody. Like, he knows it's illogical, but he like has this hatred towards JB, because to him JB was obviously meant to be in that car, and he's like, it was meant to be JB, not William. And it's like, he knows it's illogical, but he can't quite get past that thinking. He talks about how of the four of them, the two kindest, most deserving people died, and him and JB, the poor examples of humanity, lived. You know, he really is like in that kind of like mindset and position. And like, he's really not talking to anybody. He's sleeping his days away when he's not working. Like, he's practically shut out Harold and Julia. He talks about how he would willingly sacrifice any of them to get William back, all of them to get him back. And you know, he really suffering. And we've kind of just getting to a point now where he's had his 51st birthday. Richard came and got him and told him that, you know, you got to come down for dinner, like, come downstairs thing. It was just them, you know. And he just said to him, like, you know, William wouldn't want you to be like this, he wouldn't like to see you like this, you know. And he finally, it kind of like has a bit of a jump start for him, a little bit. And he goes upstairs and he opens up packages from things that Malcolm had left him and William in his will, which obviously now just all goes to Jude, because Jude had to deal with that with Williams as well, disperse all of William's stuff and that, you know. And he opened that up and the little things that were in there, and I'm like, he's setting me off again. And he's now kind of in a point where he's now opened his time up a little bit. He's going and visiting Lucian, who's had a stroke as well and has fallen hit his head, had a coma, and he's like lost pretty much. So it's 27 years of his memory. He's like can't lose his left side and everything. So it's really, we're hitting a lot of stuff here at the end. Like I said, I've got 63 pages left. There are 63 pages left. I'm partway through a chapter. But that is, as you can see, how much is left. That is the tabs. I've run out of pink tabs again, so I need to get more pink tabs down. Again. And yeah, I think I'm not okay. This book is destroying me. Absolutely destroying me. I'm destroying me. So that's kind of briefly what's happened as well since we last spoke. Now I'm gonna tidy up my space. I'm going to get into my pajamas. I'm gonna get cozy here in bed, and we are gonna finish the last 63 pages of A Little Life. Now, I probably won't update you guys till the morning, because based on whatever time I finish this, so I'll update you guys in the morning. I will take notes again so I can try and remember all the points that we want to discuss and talk about. So yeah, the next clip that you guys see from me will be me in the morning. Probably still a wreck, and it might take me like half an hour to try and tell you guys everything that I want to say, because I'm probably too busy crying. But yeah, here we go. I will see you guys in the morning in 3, 2, 1. Let's wrap up A Little Life by Hanya Yanagihara. I'm hoping it's how you say the name. that is the final look at the tabs. And I proceeded to continue sobbing my eyes out until like 3 o'clock in the morning. Oh my god, this book has just completely ripped me apart, like ripped me apart. I will quickly go over the notes that I took, because I think this is the only way I'm going to get through this wrap up quickly, because I think this video is already like over an hour long for you guys. So we have where we left off. Jude goes on a work trip. He pretty much volunteers himself for it to distract himself, obviously, from the fact of William's passing. You know, this is how he's handling it. And whilst he's there, he sees this ad for William for a beer company that he did, but he also sees that it's being painted over, and there are people obviously preparing to put new ad up there, and this just completely triggers him. He goes back to the hotel and he self-harms himself, like, badly. He's throwing himself against walls, he's cutting himself, like, over and over again. Like, he really does get triggered and proceed to like break the kind of sobriety that he was on. He starts going to dinner at Malcolm's parents and seeing Lucian. Like, he has a bit of a moment after, I think we had discussed it, Richard's dinner. He kind of has a bit of a moment after that, and he starts going and seeing them every Saturday. You know, it's, yeah, there's not too much I can say on that part, because it's just him kind of like checking in a little bit, and then being able to also check in with him, because Lucian has also fallen ill as well, so he's not the same. I think I discussed that bit with you guys last night. I think I did discuss that bit. But he does that regularly. And then Jude gets another trigger. Andy is leaving the practice. Not for like another 3 or so years, but he is, and he wants Jude to try and see another doctor, and it just does not go well at all. It's very much, he's triggered by it. And, you know, Jude says himself, he's like, I just can't undress in front of another doctor. He's like, I cannot imagine having the conversations that he has with Andy with another doctor. He's like, he just can't. He can't do it. And it's really, like, heartbreaking to see that, because Jude knows that, you know, Andy's getting on in life. You know, he knows that he's going to be retiring, and that, you know, it's happening and it's going to happen. But he just can't see this other doctor, and that kind of triggers a lot of his old self-consciousness. Like, it's always been there, like, he's always been self-conscious of his body and everything, but it's kind of triggered it again, and it's kind of resurfaced at like a higher level than what it was had been and stuff. So he kind of has a little falling out with Andy. They don't really communicate much and stuff. He does do an apology and that, but, you know, you can tell it's then been a little bit tainted. And then he has a bit of a falling out with Harold as well, because Harold tells him about how him and Julia are moving to the city. You know, Jude kind of takes it, and it is later admitted that Harold does admit later in the book that, you know, they did move because of Jude and be closer to him and help him. But, you know, that triggers Jude, and he's like, you know, I don't need help, I'm fine, I'm okay, you don't need to move here. Like, so that kind of causes a bit of a rift between them. He then has, so JB then has a showcase that has been in the works for years, like before William had passed and stuff, where it's literally showcasing like all of his work, and Jude goes to see this whilst it's kind of still in the setup process. And, you know, there's so many pictures and paintings of him, and then obviously the other guys, and then JB reveals at the very end this one picture, like the last picture painting of William, and he says that obviously, you know, that it is for Jude. At the end of the show, it is going to be for Jude. And then JB kisses Jude because, as his excuse kind of was, is that he looked sad. And that kind of triggers a bit of a rift between them. Like, they still continue to be friends and they still continue to hang out and stuff, but like it kind of just, at that moment, was, yeah, a bit of a, you could see it really affected Jude. And Jude actually is becoming unwell. He's not eating, so he's really deteriorating, and he's starting to lose consciousness, and he's starting to have delusions. He's starting to see William, he's starting to see brother Luke, Dr. Trailer. Like, he is like starving himself, and he is seeing these like illusions and stuff. So you're really watching him like deteriorate so quickly, and then he actually starts doing it on purpose because he's found it that that's a way he can see William. But after a while, even that's not working. But because he's got himself so in that pattern, he can't break it. So all this leads to them having an intervention. You know, he's been lying to them, saying he's fine. He's like had an virus, like he's had this, he's had that, this is why. But like, you know, he's okay now, he's getting better, he's eating. But obviously they all notice, they've been watching him for weeks, they have an intervention with him, and they literally put him on a strict diet. They watch him like, Richard watches him eat breakfast, Sanjay watches him lunch, and then maybe dinner if he stays late, and then he has to go to dinner on these dates with these people. If this person wants to see him, he has to see them. Like, they really strictly intervene, and like he has to follow these things because otherwise they either, Andy said he's gonna be hospitalized again. They will hospitalize him again. Because they did have to, at that intervention, because he lost it, they had to hospitalize him then. And yeah, it really triggers Jude massively. Like, he loses it at Harold and Julia, and they are so patient and kind with him, and it's really heartbreaking to see. Like, it was so destroying. Like, he just can't fathom why these people are doing what they're doing, you know, because he is so self-conscious, he has so much self-hatred. He just can't fathom why these people would want to help him, and why these people aren't hitting him and abusing him. He can't understand it, because that is what he is used to. And it was so upsetting to see that, like, he just can't understand that he deserves normal love from family and friends. And it was just, yeah, it was just destroying me that all this book he still just couldn't. But like, you know, he had that one person he moved up to, and then he lost that one person, and it was just like he completely shut down, and it was so sad. Then Jude does start making a little bit of effort with therapy, because he's been made to see his therapist again. He does have a little bit of effort in there. And then our very last part of this book is from Harold's perspective. And it kind of goes through Jude's last few days, months, on a brief aspect. How he promises he's going to write down his story for Harold to read. And, you know, he teaches Harold to cook. He does all these little things. But then almost 3 years after William's death, Jude kills himself. That was it. I was gone. Gone again. Literally gone again. Like, this is going, guys, like to the last page. We have all this going to the very end. Like, the author did not give you a break. You had it going constantly. But it is done with so much grace, and I felt so at peace with the characters when I'd finished. Like, the author has done this book so beautifully, and done all these hard subjects and conversations and scenes, but done them so beautifully, that, yeah, I mean, it still destroyed my soul, but I felt at peace as when I finished the book with the characters. And there was loads of deaths to follow after Jude's death. Who was it that died? Who else was it that died? Hang on. There were so many deaths. So after Jude, 3 years later, Andy would die from a heart attack. Richard 2 years after that from brain cancer. Then obviously Malcolm, William, Elijah of a stroke when he was 60, Citizen when he was 60 as well of pneumonia. In the end it was only JB left. Only JB left in the end, and it just breaks my heart. JB still sees Harold and Julia and things like that. You know, he does, because Harold and Julia are still going too. They're still going too, and it was breaking me. But yeah, they now got they see each other and stuff, and JB's still going in life and that, and it ends with JB when he's at 61 years, and we kind of go through with Harold going through, obviously, well, them all going through Jude's stuff and, you know, handling his affairs and that. And when Harold gets home one day, he starts just cleaning and that, and he goes to the bookshelf and he finds the CD that Jude put there for Harold that he had done for them on the adoption day, but he got so self-conscious he hid it instead. And with them he finds his letters for Harold and Julia, telling him his story. Gone again. Oh, I am gone. Oh no. Get it together. I was doing so well. Oh no. No. Ugh. Yeah, he does. He tells them. He writes it all down. And he tells them what happened to him. His life. And you could see it destroyed him. It destroyed them, both of them. But yeah, it just... This book destroyed me, okay? I'm not okay. But I will definitely check out more of this author's work, because like I said, it is the most heartbreaking, soul-crushing, destroying book, but it is done so well and with so much grace. And like I said, I was definitely left at peace with the characters here at the end. Yeah, I recommend it to anybody. Please check your trigger warnings. I would have put a warning at the very beginning of this video that you guys would have seen, so I beg that you had adhered to it and not watch this video and triggered yourself. I beg. Because I've talked about this in a lot more detail than I expected. A lot. But yeah, this is a 5-star read. I'm crushed and destroyed, and yeah. Yeah. I think that is the end of this video. I do not think I can continue on anymore. There is nothing left, I think, to say. I think I have covered this book entirely. If you guys have read this, please do let me know in the comments. Let's talk about it. If you haven't, let me know if you do decide to pick it up. And yeah, thank you if you have watched this video. This is now your sign to go and take a moment and just do some self-care and just take time for yourself. And I'm going to catch you guys in the next video, so do not forget to keep smiling, be kind, and keep reading. Bye guys.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up, today's gonna be a good